Mindset hacking. You're not failing because you're lazy. You're not failing because you don't want it badly enough. I mean, you want it. You've always wanted it. You've wanted it for a long time. But you're stuck because every single person you go to for advice is stuck in the exact same place as you. These videos are a collaboration. Sourena, who has cerebral palsy, develops the written material, and I present it on camera.
How do we differ others? How do we learn how to achieve any goal? It's
Sourena and Chris with another mindset video.
The same was hacking and particularly what other people mindsets. Anything you want to know, other people no. How do we hack into that?
And I will tell you how. Mindset hacking is something that Sourena teaches that most people don't think about. But we're going to show you ways that you can actually hack other people's mindsets to improve yours. You don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to go it alone. There's a lot you can learn from other people's mindsets. When you apply it to yours, it'll help you accomplish. Your mindset didn't come from nowhere, right? You've absorbed it from your best group of friends that you grew up with, from your family, your parents, your extended family, from managers you've had in the past, right? People in high school, people in college, people in your everyday life. Basically, anyone that you interact with has helped create that mindset. But the people that you've absorbed it from, who might love you very much, have never done the thing that you're trying to do. So today, I'm going to share with you some of Sourena's thoughts and ideas on how to hack into a mindset that actually works. I'm Chris Stevenson, and I'm here on behalf of Sourena Vasegi, the writer who can't write and the speaker who can't speak. Sourena has spent his whole career studying how people who get results actually operate because he's had to. With all of the things he's had to deal with his disability, he had to study these people in order to achieve the success that he's achieved. He never had the luxury of just doing things the standard way. So here's Sourena's promise to you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to reverse engineer the thinking of someone who's already done what you want to accomplish, right? The questions to ask, the 3 levels of access, and the one thing to watch that tells you more than anything that people say out loud. So stick around for point 3 because it's the one that changed how Sourena looked at every successful person he's ever met. And it takes about 10 seconds to spot. Let's start with why hard work stopped working. Effort has a ceiling, but mindset raises it. Sourena will always tell you there's a difference between a wish and a goal. A wish is something you like. A goal is something that you pursue and you figure out how to achieve it, right? You can work as hard as you're physically capable of and still hit a wall because your ceiling is an effort. It's your mindset, connections, it's your skill set, it's your knowledge base, right? Being aspirational means thinking and acting beyond your current circumstances, right? Not just working harder inside of them. Think about the person who's been in the same role and has been grinding at it for year after year after year after year, right? The same hours, the same effort, the same intensity, but ultimately the same result. They keep pushing that one variable that's already maxed out, and that's your effort, right? They never audit the other variables that are involved. Write down the goal that you have been working the hardest on, right? And then think to yourself, ask yourself this one question. Are you stuck because of effort, or are you stuck because of your approach? And you need to be honest. And if it's your approach, where did that approach come from? That's the uncomfortable question. Your circle handed you a script that you never chose. Most of us operate on an old narrative handed down by the people that we interact with the most. Managers from previous jobs, high school friends, our family, our parents. Those are the people that have helped craft our narrative. So we didn't necessarily choose it, it's just handed down to us. And those people may genuinely support you, and they love you, and they want the best for you, right? And maybe they even understand you to some extent. That's not the issue. The issue is they're just not dealing with the same problems as you are. So your narrative has to be different than theirs. The same narrative won't work in 2 different situations, right? They can't upgrade your mindset because they're running the same software. We as human beings take a lot of pride in being self-made. Think about the old Sinatra song, I Did It My Way. But almost nobody actually did it their way, right? Most of us inherited an approach and never questioned it. We parent the way we were parented. We work the way we were worked. We manage people or lead people the way we were managed and led. That approach never gets audited. So here's what Sourena wants you to do. List the 5 people that you talk to the most about your goals. Next to each name, write whether they've done the thing that you're trying to accomplish. Have they had a similar goal and they've accomplished it? Don't cut anybody. Just notice the pattern. And now here's the fix. And it all starts with something you can literally just watch. Because the fastest way into somebody's mindset isn't asking them what they think, it's watching what they can't stop thinking about. Watch what they obsess over. Everybody obsesses over something. Some people just don't obsess over the right target, right? If we want to accomplish a goal, we've got to be a little obsessed here and there, but it's got to be obsessed about the right things. High performers usually lock into 2 or 3 factors, not 20, right? They simplify success through hyper-focus while the rest of us overcomplicate the simple, right? We need those 3 focused areas as opposed to 20. That's going to help us be more successful, right? Obsessing over the right things, right? What somebody obsesses over will tell you more in 10 seconds than any amount of advice ever will. Take Tom Brady, for example. Sourena is a huge sports fan, so you'll see a lot of sports analogies. But he was obsessed with 2 things, and neither one were throwing a football. He was obsessed with relationships and pliability. He'd walk up to new teammates at a practice and say, "Hey, I'm Tom." Right? He wanted to build those relationships because he knew that would directly affect his ability to accomplish his goals. Right? So while throwing the football was important, he had to obsess about that. He also obsessed about being flexible, being pliable, because things were always changing, and that was the only way to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. When Brendan Bouchard wanted to be a bestseller, he found that writing conferences weren't giving him what he was looking for. So he started interviewing best-selling authors. He spotted patterns. He focused on one thing: write a good book, then get people with big email lists to promote that book. When Sourena started researching on YouTube, he obsessed over same 3 things. He calls it the trifecta: thumbnails, titles, and hooks. And that's what helps him build his content, and that's what made him a really good YouTube presenter, right? I love leadership and customer experience, so I obsess over a few areas in leadership and a few things in customer experience, right? That's what I obsess about because that's where I want to be great. So Sourena wants you to pick one person that's ahead of you. Now, don't ask for advice yet. Just answer this. What do they talk about constantly? That'll be your first clue. Once you know what they obsess over, then you can go deeper. If you enjoy this content, make sure that you download Sourena's ebook, 5 Keys to an Amazing Mindset, by clicking on the link in the description. And also, please like, comment, and share. Reverse engineer the process, not the personality. Every goal is a systematic process. It's actions, decisions, habits. And your job is to run that backwards. Ask about mechanics. What's someone's morning routine? How do they make their decisions? What are the things that they do on a consistent basis and in what proportion? Right? Ask about their team, because every goal requires a team. Again, it's back to that self-made thing. All big accomplishments happen with teams, right? So sometimes it's a spouse watching the kids so you can work. Sometimes it's having 12 employees. Nobody builds alone. And then ask about challenges, not whether they have them, because we know that everybody has their set of challenges, but what process do they run when those challenges show up? Sourena's a writer, but he also needs social media, speaking bookings, and marketing strategy. There's no world where he can become an expert in all of that. It'd be like a chef trying to cook 5 meals from 5 different types of cuisine and giving each full attention to having 5 great meals. It'll just never happen. So Sourena borrows. He hacks into other people's knowledge to complement what he's already great at. So Sourena wants to give you 4 questions to use to learn from everyone. Ask them, what do they obsess over? What does their week actually look like? Who's on their team? And what do they do when things go wrong? Right? And that raises the practical question. How do you get access to these people in the first place? Well, there are 3 levels, and most people never get past the first. 3 levels of access: consume, observe, and interact. Consume books, articles, videos, podcasts. There's an expert on almost everything, right? From raising kids to tying a tie to learning how to be an entrepreneur to marketing. Check the information is current and make sure it fits your situation and it's coming from a great source, and then consume. Then also observe. Shadow a manager or a leader who inspires you. Watch a friend who you think is a great parent do what they do. Pay attention to how a business handles you as a customer. That's the observe piece. And then finally, interact. A mentor, a coaching program, a mastermind, a conference. This is the level where you exchange ideas instead of just receiving them. And that's where the real shift tends to happen. I mentioned before that I'm obsessed with customer experience. And I will tell you that while I've read books and podcasts and studied and done all of that, which has been really helpful, What I really learned and how I developed my principles that I teach and that I work with organizations on are experiences I've had as a consumer, right? Walking into an Apple store, flying on Delta, dealing with rental car issues, right? That wasn't a customer experience workshop or seminar or conference. That was just me paying attention on a Tuesday. And that's where I've learned some of my best tactics. So chances are you're probably living at level 1, just consuming. But what Sourena wants you to do is pick one action this week that moves you to level 2 or level 3, one observation or a conversation you've been putting off. Now let's bring this home. Here's the takeaway, plain and simple. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your approach to life. And the fastest way to change your approach is to borrow one that already works. So there are 3 things Sourena wants you to remember. Effort has a ceiling, and approach is what raises that ceiling. Your circle is your current mindset. Love them and add to them. And watch obsession, then reverse engineer the process. What do people that are successful focus on? How do they run their weeks? Who's on their team? And what do they do when things fall apart? You already learned to drive a car, get a job, move up in a career. You've been doing these things your whole life. You just stopped doing it on purpose. So if this landed for you, Sourena wants you to do 2 things. Drop a comment. Whose mindset are you going to hack this month? And what's the question you're going to ask them? So if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, and I'm sure that you did, make sure you like it, share it, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel.